All right, here we go. The Kingsbury Chronicle podcast. Paul Calvisi, Lisa Matthews, the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, Kliff Kingsbury. We're running our own no-huddle, up-tempo scheme here today. And it's a good thing this is a broadcast table and not a poker table, Lisa, because I'm thinking that the head coach at this point has perfected his poker face.
Yes.
And we'd probably be in trouble right now if this is a game of cards. Because at this point, honestly, right, there are so many people just perpetuating so many, shall we say, facades. And it does sort of boil down to a game of poker in a lot of ways with 9 days to go until the draft, doesn't it?
It's been an interesting process. The smoke screens being thrown up everywhere, I think. And I've said it before, but it seems like everybody else tends to think they know what we're going to do except us. And so
Sure.
It's fun. You got to enjoy it. You only have the first pick once, I think. And so you got to kind of just roll with it.
You hold the cards. Well, Keim today mentioned just how impressed that he realized that you felt just watching the process of putting together the draft board, watching the scouts. 5,000 reports on players done. Just what has been the most revealing part of this process? Take us through when you're sitting back in the war room and all of that's going on.
Yeah, I think just how in depth you get on each and every player. There's so many draftable players, and you have every bit of background from elementary school on up, and it's fascinating to watch how they've collected all of it and then sort through it and come down to our final 120.
I would imagine your competitive advantage, and you cited this a little bit today, is your relationships in the college game, right? How proactive have you been? How often have you hit the phone?
Yeah, not on the phone as much, but at the combine, obviously getting around those Big 12 players that I've had a bunch of respect for over the years and competing against them, and then to be able to talk to their coaches who worked with them, guys I trust in the profession, and get real insight into that player's mentality and who they are as a person. So I think that's really helped on some of these evaluations.
You've said a lot that you have leaned on Keim a lot throughout this process, but how has he leaned on you? Just like you said, just the perspective that you can bring, but just sitting around the war room table, have they asked your opinion?
Yeah, I think some of it, like I said, players I'm really familiar with that we either coach against or we're in our league, and then also what type of fit is that player in our scheme, and what we want to do offensively, defensively, special teams. So you want to make sure you're taking the best player available that fits what you do, and so I think it's been a good process for us to kind of learn what that is and who we're going after.
And is that the learning curve for Steve Keim and the personnel department? They need to know, are there specific sorts of receivers that you desire and offensive linemen? Would that be an example?
Yeah, I think to an extent. More so, we're now going to be in a 3-4 base front, and so there's going to be some 4-3 type players or defensive end or linebackers that maybe don't suit us as well as a different defensive scheme. And offensively, you mentioned we may be looking for a little bit more of a speed/quickness guy. And so a lot of it has to do with fit as well as talent.
Well, your days have been busy in and out of meetings, prospects coming in as well, meeting with them. Just take us through your day right now, what it looks like, and obviously having the opportunity to now be face-to-face with your players.
Yeah, that's been great. We're getting to meet with them about an hour and a half a day, and they're doing their workouts with our strength staff. And so that takes place in the morning, and then we'll do lunch and usually have lunch with a prospect to get to know them, one of their guys visiting for the draft, and then get upstairs and talk through the 120 and try to get finalized on that. So it's been some full days, but it's getting here. So excited to get the draft here finally.
Since we talked last, you spoke to the team, right? You had the initial team address. How'd that go?
It was good. It was great to finally get in front of those guys. Still getting to meet all of them and getting to know all of them, but just to have everybody back, have that energy in the building, and get rolling again on football.
Just walking around, it's a new era, obviously. Just walking around the building, there's a new sign that says "Compete every day." What do those words mean to you, and how are they showing how they compete just in phase one right now?
Yeah, it's just a mentality. Come to work, whatever you're doing, let's make sure we're competing to be the best. And that's what those guys are about. That's why they're here in the NFL, is they want to be the best and they want to compete against the best. And so we're going to have that mentality every day.
Did you get your playbook into print? Is that still
it's a work in progress.
Work in progress?
Work in progress. But
how many pages? We were curious. How many pages?
I haven't even counted it.
Are you like a Russian novelist? Or,
no. We're kind of less is more on that front. But it's going to be a work in progress. Throughout the summer, going into training camp, we'll like to have kind of a finalized version that we feel confident in presenting then, and we can work through it.
How much can you really get installed right now? How much, how soon, how aggressive are you in trying to get the offense in place?
Yeah, I think you can get a ton installed, but until you go out there and execute on the grass, you're just talking through things. And so I think our guys have a good feel, offensively, defensively, and obviously special teams, there's some carryover, what we're looking for. But until next week when we get on the grass and they kind of see it live and in action, I think that's when it'll start clicking.
We have a question coming from Twitter from Greg. Is there a type of wide receiver you need for your system, or is it about adapting the type of wideouts that you have?
Yeah, I think that there's a little of both. I mean, there's certain guys you'd want, but we're going to try to maximize who we have as players and put them in positions to be successful and try to do things, whether it be route concepts or where they're at on the field, that help them.
How much time have you had with your quarterbacks, and what have you learned about Josh Rosen so far?
Yeah, really cerebral, very smart. Really enjoyed that room with Chad and Brett and Josh. They have a great rapport in there. And so we've just been hammering out the installs, and it's good. It's a bright group, and they're asking all the right questions.
So we've asked practically everyone that's come on the show, have you beaten Coach into the office yet? And I want to know, did Josh beat you when everyone reported back to phase one?
I don't know where he parks, so I wouldn't know. But I know he's been there plenty early, and he's kind of the last one to leave, and so he takes it serious and he approaches it the right way, and it's been awesome working with him.
Did you have to address all the draft speculation with him specifically, considering every single mock draft virtually has the Cardinals taking Kyler Murray number one?
He understands the number one pick and the profession and the business side of things, and any conversations we've had is about football and us being the best team we can be, and him playing at a high level in our offense, and so like I said, it's been great working with him, and couldn't be more impressed.
What does that just tell you? I mean, you have limited time with the player, the person. What does that just tell you, seeing him come down, put his head down, get to work, and just the leader that he is for this team?
Yes, and Steve made reference to it, just the mental toughness. You saw it all throughout last year, through some very adverse conditions, to continue to fight, continue to get up and improve as a player throughout that stretch, down the stretch. And so I've seen the same things thus far working with him.
Steve mentioned today that, quote, he likes to do deals. If there is a deal, do you have to worry about valuable information leaving the building at this point? Do you hesitate to install too much at this stage?
No. I mean, that's part of this league, and you just install your offense, and if something changes, then you go from there.
Question coming in from the live stream Facebook. Philip wants to know, what outside of the win-loss record would you view as progress to the 2019 season over last season?
I mean, this is a win-loss business. That's the National Football League, and so we want to show improvement in that column and be a better overall football team. I felt like we're closer than the record indicated, and we've made some great offseason acquisitions, and hopefully the draft can be another strong point for us.
So in addition to getting to know your own team, you have draft prospects visiting that you actually have meetings with during the day. And I know Steve kind of puts a big emphasis on the heart and the mind. By the time you're done meeting with these guys, whether it was 15 minutes of the combine, whether it's out to dinner, whether it's at the facility, how confident are you? You got a pretty good window into who that player is and what he's all about.
Yeah, I don't know how confident you can be without kind of intimate knowledge of who they are, but I feel like our scouting department does a tremendous job of gathering as much background information as they can, getting to know coaches, to know people that work with them firsthand, and so after sitting in those draft rooms, you feel really good about the guys you're selecting. I don't know in a 15-minute segment what you can get overall, but I know at the end of the process, with all the information gathered, we feel good about those choices.
This question fitting, coming from Dave from Facebook. He wants to know, what is the vibe in the war room?
Yeah, I think excited. I mean, anytime you get to pick the top of each round, I mean, there's some real possibilities to pick up some game-changing type talents, and like Steve said, and then move and shake a little bit and make some deals, because there's going to be guys at the end of each round looking at the top of the next one saying, hey, there's our guy, let's go get him. And so I think everybody's really excited to get to it and see how it all plays out.
I know that Keim talked about today, that it's not set who for the number 1 pick, but do you guys have a timeline? Do you have a date in mind? Like, okay, by this day we have to know what we're going to do, or is it all just flexible?
Yeah, I think you just go until you have to pick it, because there's so much that can go on as far as trades and who wants what, and so there's a dynamic to it that I think nobody will know until we turn that card in.
There were a couple of questions about the baseball component with Kyler Murray. You know him as well as anyone. Do you doubt his passion for the game of football?
I don't, but I don't know it to that end. I know he's an incredible competitor, and I think if he wanted to play baseball, he would have played baseball. I mean, he was throwing a lot of money and, decided to play pro football. And so I think that kind of speaks for itself there. If you turn down that much money, you have a plan and a career in mind.
Speaking of quarterbacks and money, Russell Wilson the last 24 hours became the highest paid player in the game. Is that the best comp for Kyler Murray in your opinion? How different are they? How similar are they?
I think, you look at the size. That's what everybody looks at, both 5'10", and they're both players that can extend plays and greatly competitive and have been winners their entire life. And so it's hard to compare anybody with Russell Wilson, the highest paid player in the history of the game. But I think people look at the height and the way they kind of move and extend plays and go there with the comparison.
Just going back to your one-on-one time with players or just in the meeting room, is it difficult to have the set amount of time that you guys have right now? I'm sure you're anxious to get everything out there and share what your offense will look like. Is it difficult to have these set times, or is it kind of helping the process and picking everything up?
Yeah, I think you build as you go. You like to get out on the grass immediately and get to going, but no, it's been good. Just allows everybody to get to know each other, kind of see how we do things, how we coach, how we install, and so there's really a natural process to it.
So the schedule is going to be released tomorrow, about 5 o'clock our time. What are you thinking there? Is there anything you're hoping for? Have you made any phone calls? Have you tried, what are you thinking on the schedule?
Who would I be calling?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't have the juice like that yet. Yeah. Call the league and request some.
Well, what do you look for when you look at a schedule coming out? Is there anything that you circle? Or
No, I mean, we don't control any of that. So it's, you take what they give you and you get ready to go. But it's always exciting for the fans to see where your games line up and which, Sunday night or Monday night games are on that schedule.
You got a gut feel for Baker Mayfield in prime time? You think Cardinals and Browns, you think that's coming?
Yeah, I don't know. You know something?
I don't know. There have been some reports out of Cleveland,
okay.
actually.
I haven't got that memo. But
once
see.
Again, it's all misinformation these days.
There's no doubt.
You have no idea. So, in fact, as Steve Keim said today, 9 days, anything can happen between now and then. Honestly, the Cardinals could be blown away for the number 1 pick, right? You could field some offer that the team can't refuse.
Yeah, no doubt. That's how the draft goes, and it goes right down to the wire. And so I think Steve's done a tremendous job of just making sure that he's going to make the best decision for this organization moving forward, whatever that may be.
Okay. Well, Lisa's going to the draft, coach, so I don't know if you have a
nice.
lucky hat you want to outfit her with.
That's fun.
A lot
That'd be
of
a great
pressure
city.
bringing back that first round. First overall pick.
You're flying back on the private plane with them? You need to request that.
Yeah, that's right. Don't screw it up, Lisa. It's all on you. That's right. So, okay, Coach, thank you.
Awesome. Thank y'all.
There you go. The Kingsbury Chronicle podcast. We'll see you in a couple weeks next week with the Coaches Chronicle podcast.